All right, so I want to go ahead and do an update with Big Joe right here. This is going to be the 15-month update. How you been, Joe? And you know how you been doing? How has life been treating you in the last 15 months that you've been out of prison?
It's been treating me good. It's been treating me good.
And let me ask you, would you mind introducing yourself to the audience for anybody that's new here that might not be familiar with who you are, where you've been, and where you're currently at in your life?
Okay. Well, let me do my best. Forgive me. I'm running on fumes here, people. Uh, a long time ago, they said, "Hey, we're trying to do something for the kids, so they don't end up in our footsteps," right? So they were talking about it, and that's where I make the introduction to James. And it was a podcast, an idea he had to change lives out here. At the time, I was in prison. I had 2 life sentences. Um, I was fighting for my way home, just like anybody else. We're all trying to get out. We didn't always have that chance. We got life in prison, and we were supposed to die in prison. Now, because the new laws, years later, like decades later, they told us we could come home. In 2014, they told me I could come home. I didn't know it would take 10 years to actually come home, but it did, and I'm out here now, and I'm grateful. All that stuff behind me is like water under the bridge. I don't even feel it no more. Um, I got out 14 months ago, about to be 15 months in maybe like 2 weeks or something like that. Um, and I shared my story in there. I laid everything out flat for anybody, any little kid that might be listening that might have gone through the same things or might be going through the same things to try to deter him from committing crimes, from going to prison. And that's why we all did it. Um, most of the people I did this with, most of the people I went in with, they they're still behind bars and they're still trying to come home. Whether it's difficult for them to come home, or it's easy for them, but they just haven't got out the board system yet, right? Because it's a difficult challenge that lies ahead of anybody. And when I came home, I was doing all I could to try to get everybody out. And since then, I've still been trying to get everybody out. Conversations I've had with people, too many to name, and I don't even know if they want their names out there, right? But these are people we need in prison to change laws. These are not people you talk and have a conversation with. They're people that can actually affect change. I've talked to many of them. I've talked to people, and they've all given me the same thanks for the insight, for for letting them see what it was like for us growing up, for letting them see what it was like for the, you know, I'm gonna say injustices, not against us. We're the predators in the crimes, right? We're the ones that deserve the time. But as far as like provoking things like that, the stuff we have to go through, and what I mean by that is like people are getting a taste of it out here with the ICE situation, right? I look at this and I feel like they're seeing what prison's like. That's how we get treated in prison. Like they're not the best conditions. It's not like that all the time, but it is like that. People with authority use it. They flex their muscle. They don't follow the law. They do it because they want to, because they can, because you're oppressed. In CDC right now, they don't got full use of the tablets. Why is one prison have to give up their tablets, not give them up, but not be able to use them when they didn't do nothing wrong? Because they're flexing their muscle again. They're like, no, you're not going to do it. So you could have not did nothing wrong, but you're suffering the punishment. That's why they're hunger striking right now, right? So that's what I shed light on to these people. You know, like they got to see everything with me. They got to see everything, and I think that changed opinions. That got the point across. You know, and they were already on our side to begin with. They're already looking for ways to change. They're already looking for ways to help us prove that we're rehabilitated to come home. So that's me. If I missed anything, James, just chime in and I'll fill in the blanks.
No, for sure. You know what? I think you brought a good point where the injustices that are happening out here right now with ICE agents, police officers, sheriffs, and whatnot. Abusing their authority, and we get a little bit of that taste out here without actually going to prison and kind of experience what you guys went through.
Yeah.
They get away with all kinds of things, abusing you guys in there, and there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah, like even today I'm running on fumes because we've been up since the middle of the night, right? Um, James came in. We had somebody coming home. I know this individual. I wanted to be there when he got to whatever distance he got to where I could meet up with him, right? Because I'm still on parole. I still have to meet a so many mile radius from my house. Um, and he wasn't released, even though he has a document in his hand saying he's supposed to be released today. Guess what? They didn't let him out. And this is not the first individual I see that happened to. And me personally, with everything I know, I believe is they didn't let the victims know he was coming home. So they're using that emergency time to tell the victims, hey, we gotta let this guy out and he'll come home in a couple days. But those are a couple days he didn't have to be in prison because the board the board hearing members decided he's coming home. They gave him his date. For everyone that's in prison that don't know, when we get paroled, our parole agents ain't number one with our authority. It's still the board, the members of the board. They're the ones who decide when we get off. So, in essence, their authority oversees a parole officer's authority. So, how does it not oversee a simple person working at CDC who forgot to do their job? You know? And these are the kind of things that I was just talking about a minute ago, because think of that individual and think of how mentally devastated he is and how that could throw everything off. You know, I know he's smarter than that, but I'm saying those are the kind of things that happen all the time in there. People don't want to just hunger strike. People don't want to starve themselves. They do it to try to bring enough attention to the situation. That way it can cause change. And you do it peacefully, and they still like, get out of here. We're ignoring you. We don't respect that. One thing I will say with everything that's going on out here is the ICE people, they're out of control, bro. They're just they're basically kidnapping people. I seen them almost run a little kid down with his bike and then tackle him and then grab him. This little kid don't even know what's going on. Um, but for the most part, and I could be wrong here, but for the most part on social media, I've seen the sheriffs or cops. I applaud them because they're taking a stand, and it looks like they're with the people. And how could they not be when the army did bombs spray, right, choking mechanisms, and they were affected, and the people came and were giving them what they needed to help breathe again. So how, as a police chief, how do you say go against them when they helped us out? You know, it's they could see what's wrong is wrong, and they're actually acting on it. You know, they might not be arresting ICE, but they're sure it's not provoking people. You know.
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that with the sheriffs. I saw this video yesterday where it seems like a lot of people are willing to confront. You know, if they see any potential ICE agents, they'll come up to them and see what they're up to.
Yeah.
And this particular video that I saw, they it was the sheriff, so they're like, "Hey, we're not ICE, like we're good." And then and I never seen somebody
Yeah.
sound so happy, seeing sheriffs, opposed to
Yeah, and
opposed to
that's
ICE.
that's the community as a whole right here. You got sad things that happen to the senators or the Democrats, right? That ain't humane. But if we do it, we're criminals, lock them up, right? That's what they will say. And they have the right to say that. But when it happens on the other end, there's only a few Democrats saying that. Everyone else is like, Trump's our savior. That's what they got going on social media. Trump's our savior, our Lord, that's what they're saying. They got posts up like that, But it's a double-sided sword, and it always is. But now, like, people are feeling it. People are getting a taste of it out here that they shouldn't have to. But at the same time, prisoners, they swallow that sword all the time in there. That's what I could say.
With the situation today, I did. I came out here expecting for this individual to be released, and ultimately it didn't happen. I'm hoping that me being out there actually, got the wheels turning on that situation. If not, I had another individual that was gonna write the CDC our email. Hopefully that if it wasn't me, hopefully it was them, and And after everything, I ended up spending about maybe like 3 4 hours out there, and I was recording, I was live streaming, and one of the SEALs kept on checking up on me to check what my status was, make sure everything was good, and wanted to see make sure that I had the correct information. And I had mentioned to that SEAL, I was like, hey, this individual has his paperwork already saying that he's ready, he's good to go. His release date is today. And he went ahead and made some calls and to check what was going on. And ultimately, he ended up telling me that there was nobody scheduled to be released today. But within that time, I ended up receiving some messages. Luckily, they still have their messages on, and I received the message that this individual, their counselor, reached out to them and let them know that they were scheduled for release. They just didn't know when it was going to happen. Right before I left, I ended up getting a phone call. And he ended up informing me that his release date's going to be in a few days, which is, I guess, it's bittersweet. Yeah, he was looking forward to coming home today. That didn't end up happening, but he will be home in the next few days. And then I was talking to Joe about the situation, and he kind of informed me about some things I wasn't even aware about. That emergency day, or those emergency days that the CDCR has to actually let somebody out from prison. I mean, this is the first time I've ever heard of something like this happening. So, if there's anybody out there that's ever experienced something like that, yeah, I want to hear your stories and your experiences. When you thought your family member was going to come home, or your loved one, and for whatever reason, it didn't end up coming out. But I guess we're all learning from the situation. I appreciate it, and I'm sure the individual doesn't appreciate it. But it's like I said, it's a learning experience, and we're all learning from these type of situations.
And you know what? I'll add to that. I'll say something else. Anybody getting released from prison, picture you're in your house right now. All you free people, everybody that's free right now, picture you're in your house and they tell you you're moving to Wisconsin or Minnesota. You give your whole house away. And then they say you can't move over there. Because as an inmate, that's what you do. When you're coming home, you leave all your belongings to everybody. You distribute, to your closest friends or what have you, and you're left with nothing. And then they come and tell you, in this case, another week. In other cases, it was longer. But imagine that. I don't even think I have to say no more. Just imagine that, because that's what happened. That's what happened today.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how I would feel about that whole situation. They're giving all my stuff away and expecting to leave, and they pull the rug under my feet.
No soap.
Yeah.
You probably stayed with your shower shoes. you know, with no toothpaste. Like you literally give everything away, because you're leaving behind a bunch of suffering men, and you're gonna, no matter how you end up out here, you're gonna land better than them. I don't care if you have to sleep under a bridge. You're free. You're gonna be better, right? So you leave all your stuff behind because that's all you could do for them at the time. That's all you could do for the people you love at the time when you leave.
Right. Yeah, and that's huge. To the people that you're leaving back behind there, right? Because a lot of people don't, or some individuals they don't have family, and
Yeah.
you're leaving those either whether it's body wash or soap or food or a TV. It means much more to them than you bringing that out into the free world.
Yeah.
All right, all right. So you know, for those of you that are not familiar with Joe, he did share his backstory on At Collect How From. There is a playlist under his name, Big Joe, and where he goes through his whole, pretty much his earliest memory as a child to where he was at. Even a few follow up interviews after he came out, and since I was out this way, I wanted to go ahead and stop by and wanted to follow up with him and see what kind of things he's doing in his life now, and or if there's any information that he could share with anybody that's about to come home, so that would help them not stumble, and get on their feet a lot quicker than without this information.
Um, just keep going. That will be the advice, because people come out here and they do all kinds of things. You just keep going and never give up. The way it's set up now is for you to win as a parolee. The way it's set up is for you to win. If this organization doesn't help you, the next one will. If the next one don't, you got 2 feet, you got 2 hands, you got to get it. You got to get it somehow, some way, right? But the organizations do help out a lot. They help you with clothes. They help you with more specific. They give you money for Ross to buy clothes. You know, there's a bunch of organizations that do that. They give you money, but it's not money. You can't go to a liquor store and buy alcohol with it. You could go and buy shoes with it. You could buy interview clothes with it. You could spend it just like that. But it's for you to look appropriate, dress appropriate, go to job interviews, etc., etc., etc. They give you houses. The probation officers now are not like the probation officers when we grew up. You know, back then it was chase them down, lock them up. We have such a good resume as ex-lifers that when they get us, they're happy. They know their job is easy. They know you're not going to reoffend. They know our statistics in coming back are almost to none. We're not the regular population that comes home and reoffends 75% recidivism rate. We're not under that category, and they know that. So they treat us differently, I believe, because I've never seen them tough on anybody in any of the transitional houses that I used to visit or that I used to live in.
All right, thank you, thank you. You know what? I have a question. So recently somebody had reached out to me via DM, and they had asked me a question in regards to one of their loved ones that was incarcerated, and pretty much the gist of the question was his brother was on the main line, and he had recently gone to the in front of the parole board, and from what I remember, they had denied him, and pretty much he has said that the only way they were going to pretty much parole him was if he either bumped down to a lower level or ended up going over SNY. Um, for that individual, what kind of advice could you give to help guide his brother if his brother does want to come home?
Well, I got to give the only advice I could possibly give. If he already went to board, I would say it's hard for me to say because I don't know his situation. But I will say don't go SNY. And the reason I say that is because he's going to go and they're going to tell him, you were over here 20 years and you barely left. That's what they're going to tell him. Like, remember, I'm talking about injustices. Remember, I'm talking about all that. You could do the right thing for the right reasons, and they still slap you in the face with the wrong answer, right? I don't know if that's to get under your skin, to see what you do next. I don't know why, but I'm telling you that's what they're going to tell him. And that's sad. But they're going to use it against him, in my opinion, right? Now, if you're down 10 years and you got 15 to go, that's a different story because they're not going to use that against you. They're going to be like, oh, this fool did 10 years. He got smart. He did whatever he did. Yeah, they're not going to hold that against him. I'm just saying for the guys that are so close to the board or so close to freedom, because if you're that close to freedom, that means you did 17, 18, 22, 25 years. And to them, they're going to say they're going to add times onto that. If you've been down 25 years, you did 25 years, a GP, they're going to add like 5 years to that because they're going to say your criminality. This is not even time you're busted. They're adding stuff on. Your criminality started when you were like 11, 12 years old. Your criminality started when you were 13, 14. So aside from you getting busted at 20, now we stretch that back out to 12. That's 8 more years on top of that. That's how they get at you. And if you never heard this before, this is reality. And this is how the board, this is how they operate. This is how they think. And I think I just blew some people's minds saying that, but that's how they do it. You had another question to that part. Oh, drop level. Okay, drop level. I'm gonna say obviously they're gonna want him to drop a level. That's a hard thing to do. In his situation, I know that's a hard thing to do. Now maybe it's easy. Maybe it comes easy now. I've been gone for a while. I don't know how things are working, But yeah, they're gonna want him. I'm assuming he's on a 4-yard still, And if he's on a 4-yard still, and he drops a level, you would think they applaud and they go crazy and they're like, yeah, right? And they pretend he didn't even accomplish nothing. They pretend you didn't even accomplish nothing. You get a associate's degree. You go in there and you're so happy for yourself, and you know it probably took you a lot longer than 2 years to get your associate's degree in there, but you get no pat on the back for that. And I would think as a human, and I know a lot of people out here think that's a big deal. You get a bachelor's, that's a big deal. They have to take that into consideration. Boards like a different beast, you know. They don't really applaud you for things like that. Matter of fact, if you have let me just go way out and say, if you have a master's degree and you're not taking self-help, but you're game tight to come out here and get jobs, and you really know, you can know yourself. You can know everything that got you in jail. But you didn't put the self-help ahead of your education. To the board members, that's a problem. You're not taking yourself seriously. That's how the board members see it. So when I'm talking about the board, they're just a different they're just different than anything you could think of if you've never been in there. And you have to go and be in their presence to start understanding, like, okay, these people care about X, Y, and Z. They don't care about all the things I would think they would care about. They you fulfill what I want. If I tell you tie two left shoes and wear two left shoes, then I don't care if your brain tells you right, left shoe. You're gonna do what I say, or you're not gonna get out. So, in my experience, in the experience of others, and a lot of friends I know that get shot down for this reason, that reason, the other reason, I could see it now. And I could see how they hold self-help programs way more than college degrees and educations. And that might seem odd to a lot of people. It definitely struck me the wrong way, but that's what they demand of you, and that's what they want of you. And inconsistent programming also hurts you, because then they look at it like, oh, you did this, but you just gave up. So it has to be continuous programming. And when you get out, we're told, here, do 6 months of the program or 6 months of the house, and you do it, and nobody goes on, right? It's a reality. And then they come back and tell you, why'd you quit? No, you're never supposed to quit. Keep going. And you're like, okay, but that wasn't part of the contract. So the new contracts out here, they see if you didn't do that, and they tell you, hey, get back up in here. You need more programming. So these are things that you could look to expect, and when you expect them, you just go right into the groove, and they won't have to tell you nothing. You'll just go, you'll be better than me or generations before me that came out here.
And let me ask you, you mentioned programs. Which program or which program do you think benefited you the most, to help, connect the dots?
In prison or on the streets?
In prison.
No program. It was a group of individuals that used to go to the bleachers every Tuesday and go over there and go at it and go at it and go at it. And that's how you knew when people were trying to go home. And when I'm talking about these few individuals, it wasn't a lot. The groups are filled up. This group didn't even have no place to sign your name. Like, we weren't even getting credit for it. But the question you asked me was like, which one benefited me the most? Hands down, the one with Ricky Black, Silas, Jesse Nava. Like, that's the one that was hands down better than any group I went to. I went in there and I thought I thought these guys were in college, and I thought I was in the first grade again. And I've been taking groups, not all my life, but I've been taking groups since 2006. They might have been for the wrong reasons, but I was still taking them. I was still hearing what they had to say. And none of the groups compared to these few individuals that were really putting everything out there and really brainstorming out the box, so to speak, and really coming from a different way to the curriculum. We just repeat it. We just repeat it. We read it. Nothing comes in, nothing goes out. These guys were flipping it upside down, pulling it inside out. That's what you need. Because at least that gives you a sword, a small sword, to fight against a big board sword. You know, at least it gives you a weapon against a weapon. Because aside from that, you just go in there and you walk out leaving like, man, I thought I had this, and you got a denial. Good thing for most people, they're 3-year denials, but you know, as rough as they are, even a 5-year denial, like you got to take that as a win and rebound. You know, same thing. Like I'm telling you, when you get out here, don't you just keep going. When you get denied, you got to keep going, or you know, or it's gonna be rough. And you got family out here that you don't even know how you affected them, and nobody's gonna know that. You know, we could think we know that, but you don't know that till you come out here, and then little conversations happen, or they say stuff, and you're like, "Damn, I didn't even know I did that." You know, like it hits harder when you come home, because they don't give it to you all in a bunch, because it's a bunch of people you hurt, right? And these are people that love you. Yeah, it just hits.
Hey, so when you guys would meet up in this unofficial group, would you guys like analyze like a denial parole board and approved or found suitable parole transcripts?
They got individuals that are transcript gurus. Like they read everything, right? But that don't help you. Like I know that don't help you. You know, I've seen these people and I've seen them get denied too. No, right there we would just MMA it all day long. We would MMA it. We would try to do our best to pretend we were the board, and we would hit each other. And me, out of everyone, they're like, "You're dead. You're gone. You blew up." You're like, I used to get tired of getting beat up in there like that, but that's what helped me get out. You know, like if I didn't fall so many times, I would have never been able to stand before the board. That's the reality of it. And them guys, I don't think not one of them looked at me and said, he's going home when he goes to board. You know, they might have hoped it, but I don't think no one thought it. And even myself, I thought I was getting denied. The way everything played out, I walked in knowing I might get denied. And I got a date. And when they said it, you know, they knew what they were going to do. That's another thing. These board members, they know what they're going to do. You can't see it when you sit in that chair. But when it's all done and you look back, you're like, oh, okay, right? They knew what they were going to do. The only one that was surprised in there was everybody but the board members and me. I was surprised because like I said, I was already like, my mind was already set. I'm appealing it. I'm saying everything right. They don't, right? I was already on that zone, and they found me suitable. And yeah, I was in shock, you know.
And was there a particular moment or question that 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 they asked you a question, and based on that question, you knew, like you answered it the way the way they wanted you to answer it, or the way you should have answered it?
No, but I felt like every question they asked me in the hearing, I felt like I was answering all of, like it was like Otani, home run, boom, home run, boom, home run, boom. But that's how my first hearing felt too. My first hearing felt like I'm knocking this thing out the park. My first hearing, I got denied, and I knew I got a date. That's how my first hearing went. Like I knew when they come back from recess, they're gonna tell me, "You kick butt. You kick butt. We're proud of you. You did this and this." And again, the college, I had a college degree. I had just got it. Statistically speaking, when you get 6 months, see, that's what the stuff we read. This I'm sharing you now insight. Parole packets and not packets we do, but lawyers do for us and teach us how to, right? They don't go that far in a hearing, because they say if you get a degree within 6 months of going to the date, that mentally you are zoned in that degree. So when you get out, you're going to go straight to that stuff. It's like eating ice cream for the first time. You're like, give me another scoop, give me another scoop, give me another scoop. So when I got a degree, I got it maybe like no more than 2 months, within 2 months to a month, right, of going to board. I was like, oh, jackpot. It couldn't have worked better, right? And I forgot what else I had. I had a bunch of good stuff, but they weren't impressed by none of that. They didn't even mention none of that. I felt robbed. I felt cheated. I still felt like I was getting out, but when they came back and gave me the denial, like it was a hard denial for me. It crushed me because I knew I was going home. Like I knew it. I knew I had done too much to stay in jail, and they gave me the denial. So in my second hearing, I know I'm answering stuff right. In my mind, I'm answering stuff. I'm killing it. When when they're talking, I'm killing it. But I know I'm getting denied. There were moments where the DA was asking questions, and the board member was like, he was like, "Hey, there, that's it. I gave you three questions or four, whatever he gave them. You know, they say they give you 10, and this DA is going to town on me, and I'm uppercutting the DA verbally, like I'm hitting him, boom, back up, right? And I feel it, I know it, and I know he's getting mad. You know when someone's getting mad at you, and and my DA's, I mean, the DA's like da da da, and the board member's like, I gave you all the questions. You know, take another one. In my mind, I'm pulling my hair out. I'm like, what are you doing giving him another? What the heck? Like, oh man, they're doing me again. And then I hit him again, boom. And he gave him like two more. And every time I was like, are you kidding me? Are you killing me, Smalls? Like, it was bad in my mind. But that's because the commissioner already made up his mind. But you can't see that yet till you replay it in your head. Like, oh, that's why he was like, go ahead, go get him another one. Go get another one. Boom, go get another one. And it got to a point where the DA was like, you know, he seen I was hitting him from all angles every time he came after me. And and I got the date, but that didn't mean nothing to me because I went to my experience the first time, and I knew like you might feel like you're getting the date, but you're not. So in the second one, I knew I wasn't getting the date, and I did get it, fortunately, you know. And that goes back to God because honestly, the words that came out of my mouth in the hearing, like you're so scared in there, you're playing with your life, you going with a game plan. The game plan goes to shit once you sit down. Like it's too nerve wracking, right? You know you're playing with your life. And then the weight of that is another 3-year denial. Like, you're going to make me do another 3-year denial? In your mind, you're thinking, man, I got to do 30 years before I get a chance. Now I got to do 33 years. Now I got to do 36 years. We're just all getting closer to death. And you know that. You know your life's running out. So you're feeling that pressure. And at the same time, you're thinking, man, I kicked butt. Like, I really kicked butt to come home. Like, how are you going to deny me? And then on top of all that, you're still thinking that the small piece of your brain is like, man, you let this fool out? And you let, right? Like, all this stuff is going through your head. Like, man, come on, please, right?
The dude for getting high behind the benches, they let
You
that
know,
fall out.
so your brain's going all crazy, and you're fighting. And people might think, oh, it's easy. You know, for someone in the streets might think it's easy. Well, it's kind of the same as making a child answer an adult in the ways the adult will respect them, and the adult knows all kinds of stuff, and the child don't know what the adult knows, and like it's crazy. It's a bunch of landmines everywhere. You could blow up anywhere, and your goal is not to blow up and come home. A blow up is a 3-year denial. A blow up is bad, you know.
Hey, so on your first denial, after you replayed it in your mind, could you pinpoint where was it that messed everything up for you?
No,
No.
no, I couldn't until I got with this group of these 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 self-help gurus, I'm gonna call them, right? They started you know, they started sharing. You know, everyone we would share with stuff, and I seen that one of them had a theory that if you lose the first 2-3 minutes of your hearing, you're dead. If you can't answer a simple question, you're dead for the rest of the hearing. They're just going through the motions. You got denied already, right? And when I went back after that point and looked at my my first hearing, I couldn't even answer a question. Like I was talking smooth, I was talking like I was hitting, right? but I wasn't saying shit. It's like I was running faster than any man, but I was on that little wheel, the what's that
Hamster
wheel?
wheel.
The hamster wheel. I was gone, but the hamster wheel, it don't move. It might move in my mind. I'm sweating, I'm breaking a sweat in my mind. Little stuff flying out the back of the hamster wheel, right? But all they seen was this idiot running in the same spot. No substance. Couldn't answer one thing right. Yeah, you a smooth talker. We'll put you on a dating show or something like. But you're not getting the date today. You know. That's what I seen. Like I said, everything perfect in a self help. If a self help person was asking me questions, but to the board again, it's kind of it's different. It's way different.
And I got another question. If you're a family member, how can you support somebody getting ready for the parole board? How can they help them with their parole packet or their parole plans?
It's hard. I don't even got an answer for that. I could say put him on your credit line, build up his credit. They're not gonna care about that. As good as that's gonna be, they're not. You're helping him out, but you're not helping him get out from the board. I could say send him board materials from lawyers. I just went over that. It's worthless. They teach you certain things, and in theory, it makes a lot of sense. In theory, maybe they should go by it, but in reality, they don't. So I can't even say that. Like I've read so many California Support Life Alliance or something, right? I read things from lawyers. I used to pick them apart. I used to be like, oh, that's game. I needed this. I needed this. I needed this. When it came time to going to board and getting the date, my first hearing, I thought that stuff counted. My second hearing, I knew none of it mattered. Like it's just a different game. It's like playing baseball. You're trying to help your loved one come home. You're sending them all the things you think they need, and they're learning baseball. And when you go in that board hearing, it's basketball they're playing, and you're like, how come nobody says this? How come nobody even hints to a clue? And man, the better you are able to understand self help, that's good. But it's different than self help. The board hearing is different than self help. I went with self help on the first board hearing. I got the denial. You know, I remember I was hamster. I was running. To them, they were like, "This fool don't get it. This fool has no clue." And I understood them. I understood that in the future. You know,
So what you're saying is you got to find a group like the group you found in Centinela.
and that's a hard find. I've been to all kinds of prisons, and that group was never in none of them. You got smart individuals. We're evolving. We're going towards the future. So maybe now, maybe those groups are all over in every yard. I don't know. But when I was around, they were not. And there had been many of brilliant, smart individuals that'll leave you in awe when they talk. And you're like, for sure they're going home. For sure they're going home. And they don't go home. They don't get the date. You know, the board wanted different things. And if you don't understand what they want, it's kind of messed up because they don't tell you what they want either. They just give you that denial, and it sucks. You know, I I I I was in a transitional house with a man that did 45 years, broke my heart. Busted since like 78 or something. That man did more years than I have been alive. And I always wondered about those men because it's like they did all the time. Like we did a chunk of time. Like, I don't think my time was light, but it don't compare to 45 years, And thank God he came home, you know. Thank God he got to be free. I got to drive him around in the car. Got to take him to his family's house. But but man, I still feel for that man. And other men that are still in jail behind those walls that are ain't out here yet.
And do you remember what kind of sentence he originally had when he went in the 70s?
No, he had a life sentence like anyone else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but remember that life was life back then. Like when I came to jail, life was life. Only because America woke up and we're like, this is wrong what we're doing to our youth. Thanks to Elizabeth Calvin, thanks to Scott Butnick, thanks to everybody that got involved, Heidi Romano, everybody that contributed to that, right? Um, People play small parts, people play huge, big parts, but until it got attention, we would have just stayed there and died forever. Until people can actually bring a spotlight, nobody's gonna look and say it's wrong. And I think it's wrong personally. I think it's wrong to give a juvenile a life when no Israel gives it, Canada don't give it, Mexico don't give it, China, Japan, Tokyo, Korea, Europe, Brazil, Argentina, like nobody gives life sentences to little kids. It's only 2 countries, USA with like thousands of underage 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and Israel with like 7, 10 individuals. Like those numbers don't add up. And they don't add up because it's wrong. And because of our laws that change, they help other people because their brain don't fully develop till you're 25. But it all started with juveniles. And there's a 14-year-old juvenile in there who's been busted for like 30, 32 years, 30, 31 years, right? He's still in there. That ain't right. And I'm not saying he's messing up either. He's kicking butt in the board. They haven't let him out yet.
And I want to throw something out there. So, one of the reasons that I like having conversations with individuals like yourself, Joe, is to show that if you do want to come home, you can come home.
Yeah.
But it's not easy. You do have to put
Yeah,
in that work.
Yeah, you gotta. I'm thinking about the 14-year-old boy right now. The 14-year-old boy that's probably like 45, 46, 47 right now. Like I know him. I know him when he is a complete screw up. I was with him. This is somebody that I thought would never change. This man changed. This man's been a good man for the past 5, 6, 7 years already, right? And it's just sad that he's been denied multiple times, you know? And he knows so much. Like when I speak to him now, it's almost like I don't even know him. It's always like, damn, I'm so proud of you. The way you talk now, the way you can speak. Like I never thought this man would change his it's like the social media, the fools or hey fool, hey, like he don't have that no more. He don't sound that way no more. He sounds educated. He sounds normal. He can explain everything, but he's still getting denied. And that's what I mean. Like, it's hard. It's like winning the Super Bowl, you know? Maybe not as hard because we come home a lot more now, but it's definitely not easy.
All right. Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, Joe, man, I know you're running low on fumes. I'm running low on fumes, and I still gotta make my way back. But is there any parting words that you want to share with our audience or anybody that's listening to this video?
Yeah, special thanks to you for always doing this, coming out. Like I know it ain't easy all the time, and this is an individual that I look at like an organization. I look at him the same as I look at ARC or CEO or people that are trying to help people, right? And you do it all out of your pocket. Like that says a lot. And in the famous words of or La Brocha, life's like a candle. Once you blow it, lights out.
And
Thank
with
you,
that,
everybody.
we're out. A rato.